from the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome back to an episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today I'm very pleased joining me the team from Haqq Network, Andrey and Alex. Andrey and Alex, the way I love to do it, I keep it to my guests to introduce themselves. Tell us more about, your background, your journey, and what you're currently up to. So I'm gonna start from right to left because you are both in Dubai. I know Andrey usually in Hong Kong, but as Arabic starts from right to left, I will start with Alex first. So Alex, if you can tell us more about you, and then we can get to know more about Andrey.
Sure. My name is Alex Malkov. I'm the co-founder of the Haqq Network, and also I'm managing one of the biggest contributors to the Haqq Network. So, I don't know. You want me to add something else right from the beginning? But I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Alex. And Andrey, about you a little bit, your background and your role.
Yeah, hi. I'm also co-founder of Haqq Network, and I'm a CTO, so managing all the technical operations, development, product development. And together with Alex as a co-founder, we are driving vision of Haqq Network and Islamic Coin.
Great. So feel free, gentlemen, who would pick the question. But the first thing first that usually I ask my guests, if you can give us a little bit an overview about the Haqq Network and what was the motive to start it, and some background if you want also as well, and then we can start the deep discussion.
Sure. I can start. So the idea of the Haqq Network is actually pretty simple, yet a little bit complex, especially for those who are not familiar with Islamic finance in general. But in a nutshell, our idea, and I would say like the premise from which we started the drafting of the Haqq Network and actually its future, and the main token of the network, which is mostly known Islamic Coin. So the not in a position, but as a standalone thing, the Islamic finances are actually we're always like a very interested in a peculiar industry, especially when you compare it to the traditional Western finances, because it excludes many, I would say so, like a greed-driven practices. The interest is prohibited, all the complex derivatives which are usually triggering unfair market practices, they are also excluded. And in a sense, we wanted to bring this pretty much the same base to the crypto, to the Web3, because if you look around, especially these days, the crypto DeFi, they are mostly about like a quick profiting, and usually they benefit for those who are like either in the industry for quite a long time, or they are actually front running those the such called normies, irregular people who are coming into one project or another, or purchasing one token or another. So there is a big disbalance in terms of the risk and actually the benefits, which is also actually one of the problems that Islamic finances addresses, the Sharia law addresses, by nudging, by not even nudging, but making the parties to balance the risk and benefits for each other. So it dictates that every deal has to be transparent, fair, and with as predictable outcome as possible. So we wanted to bring those practices to the Web3 and also to make it more inclusive, to make it more, the crypto in general, make more accessible by the Muslim community, which is huge, approximately almost 2 billion Muslims all over the world, and half of them are, in one way or another, are online. So we decided to create this ecosystem, this layer one ecosystem, you can call it as you want, that would actually bridge the Islamic finances from the Web 2 to the Web 3, and actually consequently bridge the Islamic finances to the current DeFi space. So this, I would say, the idea in a nutshell, and
Cool.
we are actually doing it for the last couple of years.
Yeah, this is really interesting, Alex. And, because usually when people think about cryptos, they think about, all what happens, to your point. They don't imagine that you can bring Islamic finances over there, which is really an interesting point. Now, before I go like more about the use cases, I want to ask Andrey about, from the technology perspective, like you're the CTO. Uh, so it's an area which is kind of also, I would say, emerging. So for you, as someone who has this long experience also as well, in the fintech and in the blockchain, so what excites you from technology perspective to be working on the Haqq Network?
Uh, well, I guess when I started working on Haqq Network, I kind of stopped focusing just on technology, because when you deal with Sharia-compliant financial products, it's not just implementing a smart contract and the front end for it. It's always working together with the legal department and with Alex in particular to find a common ground between legal constraints and possibilities of the technology. So at some point, I believe Alex will agree with me, I became a little bit a lawyer, and Alex became a little bit of a technician. So every product, every feature we work on, we always work from legal angle and from technical angle. So that's what excites me. I've grown from being just a technical guy to be a guy who looks at the ideas and the products which build from the ideas holistically.
Yeah, fantastic. Now let's talk more about the market, right? So um, according like some researchers, and thank you for your team to sending me all this, so I had to read and understand more about it, which is the real world tokenization, a hot topic. Wall Street saying like it's a $30 trillion opportunity. So where exactly do you fit in this growing market? I don't know who would answer this, Alex or Andrey, one of you.
Well, I would say, in my opinion, Andrey would be more capable to topple it up. But from my personal perspective, for us, at least for the time being, the tokenization itself is mostly rely on an actual utility, like real world utility that we perceive. For example, in our particular case, we are looking into the tokenization and RVA in particular in a way that it would enhance current and existing practices in the Islamic finance, for example. So we have, in our turn, the regulated gold token, which is essentially tokenized gold according to the Sharia. I mean, there is always has to be an underlying asset in excess. So in our case, it means that every token can be redeemed into the actual gold at the first call of the token holder. So, and this actually goes even beyond. We are building some of the products in a way by using the tokenization, of the real world assets, and thus solving some legacy issues of the Islamic finances. Another instance of this, and I would say it's mostly the most close one to the actual life, is that, for example, Islamic banks, they're usually limited in the ways how they can finance each other because of the Sharia law. And they have something that is called tabarruk. It is like a financial instrument, Islamic financial instrument, which essentially allows one bank to give out the liquidity to the other, to loan the liquidity to the other bank. And it's been done with actual commodities. So I would not dive too much into the details, but essentially it looks like one bank loans out the commodity to another. The second bank is actually collateralizing with this commodity and the broker. So it gets the liquidity, do something that it has to do, and then do it vice versa. So getting back the commodity and handling over the commodity back to the initial loan originator. So, and we are actually enhancing this system by tokenizing those commodities and then the whole process itself, the whole process. We are currently launching the pilot with one of the biggest brokers for the tabarruk, the classical tabarruk. So, and this, I would say, reflects our perception, our take on the actual tokenization of the world. So the tokenization is wonderful. It has enormous opportunities, inherent opportunities, but we don't actually see it like, if you can tokenize everything, you should tokenize everything, right? So it's a little bit of a, I would say, inefficient approach, because people are actually crazy about it. They say, okay, we now can tokenize everything from shares to the grocery stores. Let's do it. So just because there is a way to do it. So I don't think that it's actually makes sense. And we should start with some actual examples which can enhance the current procedure that we have already. So by these examples, we can set an actual landscape for other projects to see where there is also an opportunities, because it's like a blue ocean, yes. But you always should start by proving your concept actually makes the world better place, if I can say so. So this is pretty much my personal take on the
Absolutely. It's interesting, Alex, because you mentioned gold, right? And probably, again, there might be some similarities between the concept of gold and, saving the gold, and, the concept of blockchain and how we do it. And because, of course, like governments also, they have reserves of and so on, and the way it's like protected and so on. But if and you just mentioned also, like, you can take it to anything, right? But if we want to be like kind of realistic in what could be tokenized next, right? So what do you think are the assets that can be brought fast? Maybe the question is for you both, like from, I would say, regulatory perspective and from technology perspective. uh like, which one, maybe Andre, if you can say from technology perspective, do you think like there is something that we can bring faster than the other? I would just say maybe real estate versus, I don't know, maybe a traditional sukuk, I don't know, or any other financial instrument. So how do you prioritize this in terms of easiness and also like putting it into the hands of the market?
Well, from technology perspective, the easiest asset to tokenize is the commodity, because of like precious metals, not just gold, silver, palladium, and others. Um, so when there is a entity which holds these commodities and can provide trusted source of these holdings in a digital way, like an API. So tokenizing this commodity is just a matter of very simple integration of the smart contract with this API. That's precisely how we tokenized gold. Tokenizing real estate is very hard, but not from technological perspective, but from legal perspective and also Sharia perspective. For example, you own a share of an apartment. Like not you, but let's say some person owns a share of this apartment. Then this person dies, and the private key gets lost with the death of this person. Who inherits his share? Because when it's not a matter of inheritance of this share, it's a matter of inheritance of the private key. And how do you inherit the private key if the private key is just was in the head of this person? There are some tricks, some legal tricks, but these tricks end up with not tokenizing, not tokenizing the real estate object itself, but some legal entity which owns this real estate object. So that's, in my opinion, that's the easiest and the hardest assets to tokenize.
Alex, you want to add something to that?
From the yeah, but only from the regulatory perspective, because
Sure.
otherwise it will be, otherwise I will be stepping out, not in my territory. From the regulatory perspective, the tokenization vehicles are actually developed significantly for the past, like I would say, 2 to 3 years. Yeah, some of the jurisdictions, especially in in continental Europe, outside of the continental Europe, they have even the special purpose vehicles for that. Now that you can create and basically whatever assets will be owned by this SPV can be tokenized, consequently issued as a tokens. And they're like a huge, I would say, variety of different approaches to the tokenization itself. But still up to this day, I would say there is very few examples of like the blanket regulations towards the tokenization, because there are too many edge cases depending on the particular asset that you are trying to tokenize. And we see many attempts to actually regulate it once and for all through the blanket regulation. For example, like the MiCA in Europe are actually addressing a lot of them. But whenever we are talking about tokenizing some financial instruments, the securities in particular, the MiCA specifically draws the red line and say, no, this is not something that we regulate, even though we are regulating the whole crypto, but not financial instruments which are tokenized. For this, you have to go to the MIFID. So this is a different regulation. And it actually I would say, it's a very good example of how the regulators across the globe still struggling to come up with an idea whether there is that on one hand they're grasping to this opportunity to have a unified regulation towards the tokenization. Please give us the clear regulation and everybody would play the same rules and blah blah blah. But in reality, it's pretty much impossible because of the nature of the tokenization, because of the desire of the different groups to tokenize different assets, which are like very hard to shove into the same category and say like, yeah, this is your go-to option if you want to tokenize it. So I would say there is just several examples which are got most close to that. So for example, the Dubai regulation, I mean, everything that we have under VARA, they have a pretty good take on the tokenization itself. I would say that there's still we're still lacking the practice for that. So from the practical perspective, there are not too many examples, even attempts to do that. However, on the other side, the Central Bank of the UAE are also slowly but steadily approaching this topic. And I think that it would take another year or so, maybe 2, when we will be at the point where we have enough examples for the tokenization that would help us to outline the current landscape and identify those blind spots which we have to actually fill out with a practical perception of what we are doing here, and then the market will decide where the tokenization is mostly needed. Because once again, I don't think that we will end up with a world where you can and should tokenize everything. It just doesn't work.
Doesn't work, yeah. And this brings, a question maybe a little bit technical to Andre. So from a technical perspective, we're talking about a very high regulated industry, right? But I know that anyone in your position as a CTO would be eager, to scale and, make sure everything is, has the sense of, innovation and moving fast. So what is the balance you do here to ensure, of course, the security, also, regulations are observed while, again, going full-fledged on, this innovation, especially you are in a area which is, honestly speaking, I never thought about it from a DeFi slash a blockchain perspective. So how do you do this balance?
Well, I believe my answer will be boring because some of the best technical processes are the most boring ones. So it's always about alignment again between the technical, between the visions of the product architecture from the technical angle and the legal angle. So we usually start with the high level technical design of the product, data flows, money logistic, etc., etc. We outline it in technical, but in a technical form, but at the same time the easiest possible form, which still reflects the key point, which we then put through approvals of both legal side and sometimes Sharia side. When it's approved, when it's approved, we just go straight to the implementation. If it's not, then we brainstorm. We pick an ideas from legal and Sharia guys that okay, this cannot work like this, and we just brainstorm how to adjust this piece of the architecture in a way that it complies to the rules, but still fulfills the product or feature purpose. So it's just a matter of professional communication between departments. That's it.
Right. Yeah. Coming back to you, Alex, because you just mentioned a few minutes ago the Central Bank of UAE, and you've mentioned also the regulations that we have it here in UAE. I know, usually today you're in Dubai, visiting, but usually, also I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you operate the company from Hong Kong, right?
No, from Dubai.
From Dubai.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
so
We
I get.
several companies. One of them, who is the technical developer, the developer for the technical part of the Haqq Network, like the contributor. Yeah, it's actually in Dubai. Yes.
Okay, but do you operate in Southeast Asia market also as well?
Yes, from
Yes.
Singapore.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the point I wanted to come to. So if I want to look at the different, so Southeast Asia compared to MENA region, and of course, both are one of the strongest, and currently everyone's eye on these two regions from adoption perspective, but still people call us the emerging markets, right? So what I wanted to understand from you, based on what you're noticing from regulatory perspective, and what these bodies and institutions, some of them also they are government institutions, how are you seeing this making sure that this can be adopted not only by, like, let's say, government institutions, but also going mainstream to be adopted by everyone. And both your view on the South Asia side versus Dubai and the broader MENA region. I want to understand, where do you see things are moving faster? Where do you see things are like a little bit slower, both from adoption perspective and regulations perspective?
Well, maybe I can start. How 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 the blockchain, how the traditional DeFi ecosystem was built. Like, for example, one of the largest protocols on Ethereum, which is Aave. Aave is a lending protocol. They did not even invent lending itself. They just looked at lending as it is in a traditional finance, and they adapted it to blockchain and made it better. And it's the same for AMMs such as Uniswap. Uh, Almost every bank provides the exchange the exchange service. So Uniswap just made it better and removed the bank from the equation. So how we look at the Sharia, we're also not trying to invent something completely new. Everything exists in first. Everything already exists in Sharia law, and it's very well very well described in both the Quran and interpretations of Quran. Also, there are already Sharia-compliant products, huge ones in traditional finance. And third, there are big players. For example, in Indonesia, there are big players who get a lot of tractions in the in fields such as micro lending, for example. In Indonesia, it's growing crazy, and what we are doing in one of the ecosystem players in Haqq, they are just tapping into this money flow in Indonesia. This product is not it's not even opposing itself to this Web2 products. We're just connecting the crypto, the blockchain global liquidity to the Indonesian market. So we don't even need to crack our heads if this product if this product will fly, because the it already flies, just without the crypto liquidity yet. We are just connecting crypto liquidity to this product. So that's how it is from my perspective.
Alex?
Yep. I would say it actually there's too much of interference currently, and I will elaborate on that in a way that, you see, it's very hard to respond to the question, where are like the market moving more quickly or where it's more developed, when I would say, if not half, that probably some big portion of the current crypto market is just meme tokens and something that is very similar to it. I like the idea. I like this unofficial name of the Southeast Asia. That Southeast Asia, in terms of crypto, is like a sleeping giant. So previously, it was referred only to Indonesia, but actually it works for the whole Southeast Asia, because in one sense, the regulation there is very fragmented. I mean, besides the Singapore, I wouldn't say that it's very developed. And even in in the case of Singapore, it is like it is very highly elaborated. However, it is not very welcoming, because it's a very high threshold. It is it's very complex, and many of the startups, I mean, they are struggling to enter the Singaporean market, so they decide to go and structure through some other countries. But we see some very good examples of how the countries, especially like the Indonesia, where we are very active and we have a big community, how they're trying to catch up with the current, I would say, pace of the regulatory efforts. So they propose the new regulations. They introduce the new regulations for like a bleeding edge technologies in the Web3 and bleeding edge narratives in the Web3. So I would say that if we talk about the Southeast Asia, the exposure is huge, because in terms of the people, how many their crypto users and the holders and the active wallets, just enormous. So when the volumes are very big, they are just ridiculously high. But if you look at at this particular market, what they're doing, it's mostly like buy and sell the meme tokens. So not the DeFi, not some high utility dApps. So it's just still very, very early stage of the crypto usage. In terms of the MENA region, in its turn, we see many big players, many big guys, and especially if we're talking about the exchanges or some custodials and service providers, in placing their headquarters or at least their like significant branches here, because first and foremost, the regulation is pretty clear for them, and they have a direct path, clear path, how to get the license, how to get regulated, and actually place their business in this region. So secondly, we see how the big guys from other service provider industries, I would say, they're also doing the same. We see how the projects trying to get here regulated, be more present and work within the MENA region. So unlike in Southeast Asia, I would say that in numbers, it's much lower headcount of companies and actually holders. Well, the population is much more humble rather than in the Southeast Asia, but they're relatively big. So you have a fewer headcount, but much bigger checks and bigger size of the companies that have been placed here, and that's actually actually reflects the situation with the Web2 businesses as well. Yeah, I mean, like the actual power of the Southeast Asia is that you have a very big population. It's emerging markets. It's a growing economies. They're struggling with to get the liquidity, to get an actual funding, because they have the economy is growing and very, very fast, but they are struggling to get an access for the liquidity. And here's actually big chance for the DeFi space, because unlike the traditional banks and the traditional institutions, they have a much lower threshold to enter the liquidity market. So pretty much like this.
And these countries are highly digitalized. Almost every person has at least an Android phone.
Right. Absolutely.
The people, citizens there are not stuck in some legacy systems such as checkbooks or even Visa, MasterCards.
Right.
Even in Dubai, we use checkbooks, right? It sounds like from 20th century, right? And these people, they haven't even heard about them. They don't have Visa, MasterCards. They just use phone for everything. And for crypto, you also just need phone.
And I think this is part of your mission also, to do what we call it financial inclusion, right? So more people who would be able to access these things that previously it wasn't possible, which is great. Now, feel free, both of you, to answer this, but I cannot nowadays pass over an episode without asking about AI. And I want to understand, what AI plays a role with, maybe with what you do at Haqq Network, and, of course, in the overall intersection between AI and, Web3 / blockchain / DeFi.
In fact, we do have an AI division for almost a year now, and a pretty big division. We have a head of AI, a bright Muslim girl, and two AI engineers under her command. Uh, uh, so she built a model which is capable of answering questions regarding the Sharia finance and some questions about Sharia in general. When you bring AI to Sharia, there are interesting challenges stand in our way. For example, the LLM models, even if trained by ourselves, they will always be biased, or there will be a high chance to be terribly wrong, because what models do, what LLMs do, they generate the most probable answer, right? And when you touch religion, you don't want to be like 95% right. You want to be 100% right. So that's why you cannot just get ChatGPT or OpenAI a model trained on Quran and Quran interpretation and build an UI around it and present it as a product. You need to build a lot of safety mechanism in the so building of the AI product for Muslims becomes more than just a machine learning task. It's a huge engineering task of building an a system with some new elements. Also, one more thing is you always have to provide references to Quran or tafsirs, which are interpretations of Quran, just in case if the response is still wrong, user can always refer to the original source and check the response. So we've already built the model and the chatbot, which works in one of our ecosystem products. It's called Chat. It's like chat for Muslim people, and there is a chatbot which answers this kind of questions. And another way we use AI is to build a very simple user interface to our DeFi ecosystem. It's not live yet, but will be live throughout the spring. It's very important for us because we don't appeal to crypto natives. I mean, it's not our prime focus. Our prime focus is like normal people onboarding to Web3, and we don't want them to bother with the normal crypto stuff. And we try hard to eliminate hard parts of the crypto in our products, such as mnemonic phrase, but while still keeping our products non-custodial, or hard, complicated user interfaces which ask a user to sign some scary transactions. So here we are utilizing AI, which guides a person through the DeFi landscape and helps the person to invest their money in a Sharia-compliant products wisely and safely.
Just because you said this, Andrei, like, and maybe you touched on this before, but do you think still people, when they hear the word Web3 DeFi, there might, because Alex was talking about the meme coins and all what we saw, a couple even of days ago with this. So do you think, there's some education that, I mean, not only for you, maybe anyone, any entrepreneur who's into this field, that they need to spend some time educating people about, guys, it's not about what you see. It's not about the meme coins that they just drop and then they bust. So how difficult is that for you? Like maybe Alex, you can tap into this.
I don't know that it would be a very successful business model if you create AI which will consistently tell people don't buy meme coins.
Why?
Well, first of all, I don't believe that AI can feel any emotions. But I think in this particular case, even AI at some point will just give up and tell that there is nothing that I can do with these people. They're still buying meme tokens. They still will be buying meme tokens, no matter how elaborate, how patiently it will educate them to not do that. But actually, in reality, I mean, I adopted this idea, this perception that in not so distant future, the whole crypto market and maybe actually traditional finances as well will be just a bunch of AI agents communicating and working with each other. So probably when I think about the current state of the AI and like the best way, the best approach for this is the AI most likely is the missing puzzle for actual mass adoption. Because let's be honest, if the usage of the crypto was not like inherently connected with such many complex actions for such very simple simple tasks, the adoption will be much higher. We would be actually probably somewhere around how many active Bitcoin wallets currently. It's like approximately 40 million or something. So it would be 2 times, 3 times bigger. So the AI has a wonderful opportunity, this magical opportunity to give an access for those who don't want or scared of learning the basics of the crypto to actually enter the market to benefit out of it. So because we have all this different now it's booming like all the AI agents, everybody is building AI agent for everything. Like it's kind of neat idea that you can just shove all those complex actions into just an AI, and people will just order it whatever they want to do. So this is a very lucrative and interesting topic of what is actually the best usage for the AI. But in my opinion, once again, it actually erases this relatively high threshold of entering the market itself. So, but then again, we are running the problem of like the trust. So because the AI agents have to be built by someone. So in order for general audience, general market, general retail to actually trust the AI agent, they have to trust to those who are doing that, who actually publishes it or deploys it. Because when we are talking about just like a informative function of the AI, like the basic usage of for example, of the ChatGPT is just you ask question, gives you answer, you ask him to compose some table or whatever. So you are not actually instructing him, hey, take my $100 and go invest them into, I don't know, into NASDAQ. Yeah. Because as soon as we would talk about these topics, when you're actually handing over your money or your assets, whatever, it would be absolutely another level of the discussion. So it's still a distant future, but I don't think that it's such distant. Most likely, we are actually relatively close to the state where the AI agent would be the first, I would say, like the market faced, the first frontier for newcomers into the crypto. So they would actually interact with whatever Web3 project through the AI agents, mostly without learning even the basics of the crypto. But maybe if we're lucky, they will be interested enough in learning those basics themselves. So I think the future in this sense is bright, but yet to
I
be
agree.
determined.
I can sense that. Of course, it's bright. Always, I'm optimistic by nature, I would say. But the points that you mentioned, and I think I agree with you. We are not very far because the the speed that these AI agents are in all aspects, not necessarily for crypto and Web3 applications, but the way they are developing, and the speed they are coming up with, definitely, yeah. So I do, of course, we don't have a crystal ball to say, yeah, exactly in this date this will happen, but yeah, the data and the numbers shows us that probably we are so close. Now, before we close, and the question, which is an open question, I like to ask all my guests, and again, Andre and Alex, feel free. So, last thing you want to tell maybe entrepreneurs in this field, maybe final words of wisdom, maybe something that you want to highlight I didn't ask about, and then at the end, how people can get engaged with Haqq Network. So each one of you, Andre and Alex, like you want to go, and then we will close.
Well, I would invite everyone to learn at least a little bit about Sharia finance, not Sharia in general. Sharia finance, it's a huge opportunity and yet untapped, almost untapped. We tapped it a little bit. I mean, in the blockchain space. In my opinion, Sharia finance is one of the, if not the most sustainable financial framework. There are a lot of cases or evidences of this. Not a single Sharia bank went bankrupt in Africa, very unstable region. And even in US, Sharia banking products are popular amongst non-Muslims because of the fact that they follow the Sharia rules. When you put your money in this, for example, Islamic bank account, you can be sure that your money will not be lent out to someone else. So your money are still there. And a lot of big startups and unicorns are already competing to each other in Web2 or even offline Sharia finance. But blockchain space is just a blue ocean. Even we in Haqq working on it for like almost 3 years already. We just stopped very little part of it. So even if you're not a Muslim, but just an entrepreneur looking for ideas or markets without competition, consider Sharia finance and consider Sharia finance on blockchain.
Great. Alex, final words from your side?
My final words is that I don't know how to encourage people to Web3 people to drop like the idea of squeezing out whatever you can squeeze out from meme tokens. Once again, I feel like this podcast was very hard on the meme tokens, but in reality, I'm just very and strongly advocating for long and sustainable Web3 products, which can actually make a change. So which can actually bring the benefit not only to the community, but to the industry in general by showing off that it's actually getting more mature and useful and purposeful. So Haqq is one of those examples. We are not chasing and running for the quick returns or the quick buck. Yes, we are trying to show that crypto is not necessarily about the quick profits. Various communities, especially emerging markets, to solve their everyday problems. going bold and like saying that, okay, this network will be like the single stop shop for every need of every person, and yeah, the other layer ones, they are useless, don't even go there, don't do that. We are more of a like a purposeful ecosystem for specific industry, for specific market, for specific demographic even, and people with a unique approach to the finances, such as the Sharia finances are. And I'm encouraging everybody to just go check it themselves. As Andrey said, here we are very much aligned. And actually to see that in the long run, it is much better to come up with a solution that will be self-sustainable economy, self-sustainable development, because it would always bring in answers to the future questions that will arise as we develop the web industry and moving it forward. So, like, build for people, once again, not just for the sake of current narratives.
That's fantastic. And I think the website is haqq.network, HAWQ.network. I will put that in the show notes. And by the way, Alex, don't feel sorry. I I had like previous episode talking about cryptos, and like we were more harsh on meme coins. Don't worry about it. But yeah, of course. And like part of it, and I'm happy what you mentioned at the end, like it's like purposeful. It's about showing people the power of such technology and how you can apply it in something that you might not even think that it's possible. And you guys, I think you did a fantastic job, getting it to the Islamic financing, which is, I think it adds also the confidence to a lot of people. To Andrew's point, about like how people, even non-Muslims, they trust, investing their money over there. So thank you, both of you, for bringing this and talking about what you're doing and encouraging everyone as startups, as entrepreneurs, and even as consumers of this technology to be involved. So again, thank you very much. And this is for the audience. This is how usually I end my podcast episodes. So guys, if you just discovered us by luck, thank you for passing by. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did so, please subscribe and share it with your friends and colleagues. And if you are one of the people who keeps coming again, thank you for all your support. Because of what you are doing, and thank you for that, we managed to get, for the first time since 2 years, we were getting in the top 200 charts every now and then. But for the first time this year, Jan and Feb, and even I think this will be aired in March now. So we are getting in the top 200 chart in multiple countries simultaneously. So thank you for the support, and thank you for making the CTO show the number, I think it's 14 or 15 now, top 40 must listen podcast in Dubai. So thank you for your support as usual. And as I say, stay tuned for a new episode very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.